What's going on, everyone? I'm actually recording this video just before the video I posted previously because we got to talk about the anniversary event in that previous video, but there was a bunch more to the update that happened just a couple of days ago. We had the new Double S brand, we had new Double S equipment, we had obviously the new anniversary event that we just talked about, which looks pretty solid. We also have a bunch more expansions towards stages, challenges, all that other good stuff. But I want to hone in on the new Double S equipment because I've been getting a few questions about whether or not they are actually worth transitioning over for. So really, the Double S equipment comes down to the rings. So if I jump into the workshop here and hop over to the various rings, you'll see there's a lot more added to the game. A lot more. We had the judgment ring already, which was one that a lot of builds were like, oh my gosh, this looks like an incredible upgrade. We had the dragon pearl ring, right? And then suddenly we got all these brand new ones, and they all seem to specify towards a specific build. These five right here, these five rings. We have the Ezra's End, we've got the Julian's Inquisition, Eleanos's Creed, Tyr's Smash, and the Severa's Fang. Just to give you an example, let's just look at Severa's Fang. Right here, this is in throwing daggers each turn, but more specifically, when you're throwing daggers, you can go ahead and change into an extra Severa Blade, giving you dagger damage, and at the Arcana level, it's going to restore rage. So this obviously is like, oh man, this looks like a Whisperer ring. Like this looks like the Whisperer ring, right? When you compare it to the Ring of Judgment, which is just like, oh yeah, this is just a good one, right? Deal skill damage, get extra skill damage, get skill crit damage, get skill critical rate. Oh, that's just good for everyone. These ones seem a little bit more specifying to each individual build. Take Ezra's End, for example. This looks like the Nashir Scepter ring, the Julian's Inquisition. We've got Light Spear, so counterattack base builds. Eleanos's Creed, combo hits, and Sword Chi, so that looks like the Sky Splitter, the Tyr's Smash. We've got combo based and increasing normal attack damage. That looks like maybe the Helos Warblade or the Blade of Justice, right? These all look like they're specified towards specific builds. Now, there hasn't been enough testing across all the builds so far to determine whether or not these rings are specifically better than the Judgment Ring in every build. But just to give you an example, there have been a lot of way more developed players that are actually able to access the mythic level and legendary level Judgment Rings, as well as, you know, all the other ones that I just mentioned, like the Ezra's End, and more specifically the Eleanos's Creed has been significantly tested. And so far, the Ring of Judgment has generally been the biggest priority. The biggest priority. This has been the most powerful, the most universally powerful ring. So the game plan hasn't really changed. And I was very curious because, again, as a Sky Splitter user, I'm looking at this, and the Eleanos's Creed, I'm getting extra sword aura damage. I'm getting extra combo. Combo hit has a chance to release sword aura, right? Increasing sword aura. Then I also have, well, that turning into Void Slash, dealing extra damage, and then increasing final sword damage for one turn. Like, that's incredibly good bonuses. But so far, it has been the Ring of Judgment that has outpaced it. Now, what's interesting about it is it looks like a lot of builds are not, or rather the game doesn't allow you to run the Ring of Judgment, Verdant Ring of Judgment, as well as just a standard Judgment Ring. But you can, it looks like, run two Double S variants. So, if you are a Whisperer user, if you are a Nashir Scepter or Reaper Staff user, or you're a Sky Splitter user, your goal is to get the Verdant Ring of Judgment, and then immediately after, depending on the build, Bloody Grail could be an option to the Crimson Chalice, or going for your secondary Double S ring within whatever, again, game plan you're running. And what I mean by that is, again, Severa's Fang, this is your Whisperer ring. Eleanos's Creed, this is your Sky Splitter users, and then Ezra End, this is your Nashir Scepter users. So far, that's what it kind of looks like. That said, there's a good chance the Nashir Scepter, with more testing, the Verdant Ring of Judgment, alongside just a, potentially other option for a ring, could be better. But it's really important to remember that you cannot run a Verdant Ring of Judgment and a standard non-double S Ring of Judgment. And you might be like, well, why would I want to do that anyways? It's because the actual skill damage and multiplication, all that stuff going on, increasing your DPS, is actually worthwhile. And I'd be sitting here like, well, why does this matter at all? Well, it's pretty important because, one, you can keep the Verdant Ring of Judgment, but if there's some testing that comes along and you can, or rather you want to swap over because the damage is actually outpacing the Ring of Judgment, there's actually kind of a process to do this without any swap tickets. So for example, let me go ahead and see if I can show you all this. So let's go first remove all my gems from the Ring of Judgment here. Then go ahead and revert it. So we're going to go ahead and revert this down, level it down, and revert it for the Divine Forge. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and revert it, get the nice level down. We're going to go ahead and revert it. Great. Then we have to downgrade it. Lots of steps here, lots of steps. We're going to downgrade this one. Cool, cool, cool. Downgraded. Okay. Now that we've all done basically resetting it to baseline, legendary double S equipment, which is like the lowest you can get for double S's, you can go ahead and go to the reverting tab and you can do a casting rollback. Now this is really, really interesting because what this will return to you is the Divine Forging Cube, the Divine Weapon Cubes, Divine Forging Cubes, and the Divine Forging Steel. And it will revert it down to its base resources, so that you can actually go ahead and turn it into whatever item you're actually looking for. And now I've not done this, so if I get completely screwed here, again, these are just like the steps that I have seen so far to be able to get all your resources back and swap between double S equipments. I'm gonna be screwed, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. It says it returns 100% of the forging material, so we're gonna do it. Ooh, okay. And then what I should be able to do is just jump in here. Where's my equipped ring? Or let's go ahead and drop this in here, my equipped ring. And now I should be able to grab the Judgment Ring and actually change it into whatever ring I want. Now it's important to notice that if you look here, I can't actually do that for the other rings that require a different starter. So for example, the Julian's Inquisition doesn't build on the Dragon Ball or the Judgment Ring. It's a Dragon Ball ring. Same with the Tier Smash. So if you are, a counterattack based user, you're going to want the Dragon Ball ring. So you're going to have your Dragon Pearl and then you reset that and then you transition over to the, different builds. And again, I don't know a whole lot about the counterattack based builds just because they haven't really been conducive to extreme success in chapter progress and PvE progress, so it's been less of a focus for me. But if anyone else knows more about these and whether they're worth kind of transitioning over to, let me know. I've tried to look on the Discord for the Capybara Go Discord, where we have a bunch of really, really amazing testers out there to kind of dive into it all. But so far, all I'm seeing is that you still want to stick with the Dragon Pearl ring and the Ring of Judgment, and I can still do so. But be with the casting rollback, if you find that the Ezra's End or Elenos' Creed is truly the one you want to go for, well, guess what? You can get all your resources back by doing the steps that I just showed you and then transitioning over to that new ring. And again, you're not going to lose anything. So I can forge this back. Let me go ahead and just make sure that I am not going to be messing up anything in my build. It always makes me nervous to do this type of stuff. And then I can go to the Divine Forge, level this back up to level 3, which I had previously. Great. So that's level 3. I can go ahead and drop my gems into the ring here by slot. And then I would be all set here. I don't remember what I had on here. I think it was the global attack. It was definitely the mythic one. Combo damage boost. That was definitely one of them. And then I think it was, I don't remember. Oh yes, the plus 50% damage. That's what I had on there. And then of course I can just go back and upgrade back to the level that I was at with the advancements. So yes, there is a way, even though they release new double S rings and they look to be upgrades alongside the Ring of Judgment, the Verdant Ring of Judgment seems to still be the #1 priority. So I want to just give my thoughts real quickly on that, since it was a pretty big update. But it is kind of cool that you guys can transition between all of that and be able to kind of go through and, make your decision as you wish in terms of being able to determine whether or not you actually want to try out and test them for yourself. Some of these new double S rings, I've already done it myself, and I wasn't able to tell really a huge difference. And that tends to be the case when you don't have these like mythic tier upgrades or anything like that for your standard builds. But overall, it still seems like the Verdant Ring of Judgment for most of you standard Nashir Scepter, Sky Splitter, and Whisper users is going to be the priority. The one exception then I think might be the Severa's Fang based one. I don't remember. Is that the actual name of it? There's so many names of double S equipment now. I'm forget the Severa's Fang. So the Severa's Fang here, I think this might actually just be an excellent one for the Whisperer, even more so than the Verdant Ring of Judgment, because the other ones just increase your damage or whatever. This one gives you extra rage restoration, which we know how powerful that can be. So I'm really curious to see when more people have done some Whisperer tests and actually updated the Discord as to whether or not that's actually going to be a true upgrade. And if you're a Whisperer user out there, let me know, because I mean, I could swap over everything, but again, I would be just a little bit weaker because I just swapped over everything to the Sky Splitter just about a month ago. So I think that's really, really good potential for the Whisperer, and I'm excited to see what the builds come out of it. Of course, I'm still focused in on the Verdant Ring of Judgment, and then I'll probably be going for that second ring to try to get the new one that's based for the Sky Splitter. Creating specialty rings like that, I think, makes a lot of sense. Having these like kind of combination of rings, since you can have two of them, just kind of fits with the build even that much better. But that still means we have to collect a ton of Divine Forging Cubes, or I keep saying Divine Forging Cubes, the Divine Weapon Cubes, and keep pushing on getting these silly little green cubes every 2 weeks as our progression halts until we get them. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below about the new Double S equipment, the new update, the new anniversary event, which we talked about yesterday, and you can find that video in the probably somewhere on YouTube's next up list on the side there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all for the next one.